let's get started. All right, we have got today a nice little flow Pilates mat series. Maybe some new moves even, all right, just to kind of wake things up a little bit. So go ahead and come to the mat. We'll turn a little sideways and maybe facing the short end of your mat, making sure you have enough room behind you, so maybe forward just a bit. We'll start with hands right behind the thighs. Take a big deep breath in, kind of lift the heart. We'll do kind of a seated cat-cow first. So then exhale, scoop the belly. We're really moving into, in Pilates world, we might call it more of a C-spine. Okay, so inhale, or you might refer to that as a cat stretch, very similar. Okay, scoop the belly and just kind of pull yourself back, but without just dumping into your back. All right, so inhale, lift up. Exhale, I want you to scoop deep down from the pelvic floor first, lifting, and then belly to spine, hollowing out. So you should have this sensation that you could kind of just even hold yourself there by your front body pulling in. Exhale, lifting in and up, slight roll back. So now just one more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, gently pull back, but pull up and in. And then we'll inhale, get tall. And now this time, anchor your feet, maybe about hip distance, maybe a little further away from your bottom. We're going to roll it back about halfway. Okay, so we're just taking that little C-spine and rolling back and then coming up. So we don't even have to hit the floor. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, hands can stay attached to the thighs, or you can start to reach forward. Inhale, exhale, scoop and lift it up. We'll take about 4 more right here, just these nice little partial rollbacks. Just low enough that each time you might find yourself going just a tiny bit lower. Maybe just to the top or the very tip of your shoulder blades here, at the very bottom of your shoulder blades. If that's available to you today. If you need to take it a little higher, that's okay. All right, so 2 more. I want you to focus on your breath. Exhale it out. Really connect that ab space, the abdominal space with your breath. Like you've got a little breath of fire, you're pushing it out. Now we're going to roll all the way back. Make sure you have room behind you. Rolling all the way back. And then I want you just to float your hands like you would for the hundreds and draw your knees up. If you need to rest your head, feel free to do so. Okay, so we're just kind of pulling the knees in even closer than you would for the hundreds. And making sure that your shoulder blades are staying lifted if your head is up. We're going to start with a little pump. Okay, so just consider this a variation of the hundreds. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really pull in from pelvic floor first, lifting. Kind of drive that energy from your pelvic floor up and then belly to spine. And now maybe we take one toe at a time and drop it and bring it up. And the other, and up, down, and up. We're still pumping. I know now it feels like we're rubbing our belly and patting our head. Down and up. Now, consider staying here, or take that same action, but now we're going to straighten out the legs. Okay, so straighten them out, reach, back up. Straighten and reach, and up. Okay, straighten and up. So we're just taking opposite leg, opposite directions. One to the sky, one toward the end of your mat. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 4 more. 3. Don't worry if it's kind of a little wampa jaw. If it's hard to stay coordinated. And relax. Rest it back. I want you to turn your head side to side. So as you place your hands right behind your knees, they could be on top of your shins as well. We're going to really scoop the belly and see if you can lift your shoulders just a little, making sure you're not straining your neck again. All right, so now see if you could start to create a little bit of a tuck and roll without swinging your legs. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do. I want you to see if you can do this without swinging your legs. So it's really coming from your abdominals. And eventually you're going to roll up to the top, finding rolling like a ball. So I want you to stay into that little C-spine or cat stretch almost. And then roll back to the shoulder blades. Lift up. Okay. Watch those feet. See if you can try to keep your knees, maybe even gaze at your knees for a moment. See if you can keep your knees steady without them swinging to you or from you, and your feet steady without letting them swing over your head. Really engage. Here's where that deep core engagement is coming in. Let's try 3. You can always lift your heart at the top. This helps you put on your brakes. 2. Good. And 1. We get to the top and take a little pause. All right, go ahead and shift your hips back just a little bit. We'll reach the legs out nice and long. You can have a little turn out of your knees and your toes. Inhale, take a big deep breath, reach the arms forward, and scoop your belly. Exhale, just a nice little reach. So our knees and our toes are rotated slightly out. This should take most of the hamstring action that might be pulling on your pelvis out of this situation. Inhale. Exhale, pull the belly in. So see that we're not really taking a big deep hinge forward. We're just taking a nice little kind of spinal stretch here. Okay, belly in and reach. Maybe a little further this time, and we'll come back up. So taking your hands back down by your sides. There's 2 backs there. All right, bend your knees. I want you to scoot your hips forward just a little. Go ahead and bring your big toes together, your knees together. This one's going to be a little different. We're going to lean them over to one side. I'm going to lean them over to the left. You go whichever side makes the most sense to you. Okay, I'm going to reach the hands forward. So this is going to look a lot like our roll back, our little partial roll back, but we're leaning to one side. This is going to get a little bit more onto the obliques. So we're going to inhale, get tall, and roll back just part way, all right here on the side waist, and come back up. Now, if this is uncomfortable on your hips, on your bottom, on your glutes, take a blanket and sit on it. Come back up. I know, I think I have some knots in there because I'm rolling right over. I'm rolling right over the muscle right there. Boom. All right, inhale, roll back. I can kind of feel it and hear it, and it probably needs to be worked out. Okay, 3, pull back. See, I'm at an angle here. Okay. Last 2, inhale, exhale, up. This time you're going to roll all the way back. Let yourself land on the mat, and then we're just facing the long edge of the mat. Head can be rested. Knees are together to start. Now you can have your head all the way down or just a little prop with your hand. We're just going to do a little clam, open and close. So big toes are mostly together. They don't have to be glued together. We're just going to open that knee up and bring it back down. So just lift and lower without moving your chest and your shoulders with the movement. So let your front hand be here for support, your top arm. Just lift, open, and close. Good. Still engaging deep into the belly space. Inhale, exhale down. Good. Last 3, and 2, and 1. Now take a pause. Just kind of float the foot just a tiny bit. So I want you to tap your toe, and now just dive your knee down. It doesn't have to hit the other knee. So we just reversed it, okay? So then tap and dive. All right, good. Toe and knee. Good. Inhale, exhale. Pull the belly in, so we're still engaging here. Inhale, just finding that nice rotation. So we're going to that external rotation, then internal rotation. We're getting both the, actually to hold today, we're gonna work all parts of the glute, right? So we're gonna be working with 3 parts. We've got glute med, or max. We go with the biggest. We'll go with the big guy, max, then medius, and then minimus. And we're working all of them today in our program. Okay, so let's do a 3, 2. So here we'll put that nice internal, external rotation. And then when we do our abductions, and 1, and take a pause. All right, so now I want you to take the legs and bend them again, to keep them bent. Roll slightly back. So it's almost like when you first came down. So you're gonna roll slightly back, just a little lean, so that your chest is a little more square with the ceiling. The knees are still tilted to the same direction, but they're floating. And now we're gonna reach, inhale, lift up, exhale. Okay. Inhale, I want you to see if you can move your feet away from you enough that you can start to roll and reach. Woo, okay, so you might need to take your hands to your thighs and help yourself with a little curl. Inhale. It's going to be a challenge. Really working the obliques in a different way. And exhale up. Good job. I want you to try 4 more. If you find any discomfort in your neck, go ahead and place a hand behind the head or maybe both hands. You could still do a nice little trunk curl here. Last 2. Here we go. Last one, you're going to roll all the way up. So if you need to, just kind of push yourself up or take a hold and rock yourself all the way up to the seat. Come up, and then we're back to center. Okay. So those legs go out again. Nice long legs. Look like your little mermaid tail. Your toes out, knees out slightly. Inhale, scoop the belly. Exhale, take a little dive forward slightly. Okay. Come back up. If you need a little bend in your knees, if you're finding a lot of pull on your low back, I want you to put a little bend in your knees, but do try to keep them kind of turned out slightly. Okay, so we're not looking for a hamstring stretch here. I'm looking more for that nice back stretch. It's always about our intention, right? Still a forward bend, still a forward fold, but what is your intention? My intention right now is my back and not my hamstrings. Okay, come back up. And I want to keep it a safe intention. So we're going to now place the hands down. You're going to go the other direction, which you can just rotate your knees to that side. I'm going to turn just so that I know where I am and I can see you. Okay, here we go. Knees slightly rotated over now to the opposite direction. Reaching the hands. Inhale. Exhale, partial roll back. Come back up. Inhale. And exhale. Notice you're kind of crooked here, right? You feel like you're a little, like I said before, like I think it was my home ec teacher that used to say it all the time. It's a little wampa-jawed. We're a little wampa-jawed here. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. And about 3 more. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, scoop and pull back. And 2. Good. Last one, you're going to roll all the way back, and here we go, back into that little clamshell, over to the side. Inhale, exhale, pull the knee up, and then drop it back down. Nice little rotation. So that rotation, you know, we have so many different things happening here. So yes, it is externally rotating, right? Rotation out. But also it is moving away from center. So we've got abduction and rotation happening at the same time. Super nice on the glutes. Okay, inhale and exhale. Here we go. 4 and 3. Remember, you can be down here or your head could be propped. And 1. All right, so I want you to keep your big toes close together for just a moment. Float it just a bit. Now drop the knee and then the toe. So you don't have to tap your knee to knee, just kind of dive it down. You can make it as fluid and as pretty as you like. Right, so it's just kind of nice and flowy. Down and dive. Good. I want you to engage belly to spine, pelvic floor pulled up and in so that you're really staying focused with your pelvic muscles. Okay. Down and tap. And 4, 3, 2, good job, 1. Now we've got that funky dunky little partial roll up, sideways roll up. So I want you just to roll back slightly now. Keep your knees off to the side, just like when you came down. Inhale, exhale, engage, and lift. Lower it down. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Lower down. Try to curl, scoop a little, scoop your tail a little. Okay. Try not to overemphasize the lifting of your head. The focus should be in the center of your body. All right, your head is attached. It's not got no choice but to come along for the ride. So if you engage the center of your body first, the neck will stay safer. Last 2. And we're going to see if we can roll the rest of the way up or just kind of pull yourself up there. And 1, and we go all the way up. Good. We are back to that center space. I'm just going to flip around so your legs are straight again. Let's find that forward fold. Inhale. Exhale. Come back up. Inhale. And then exhale. Scoop. Knees rotated out. Maybe you want to go a little further this time if that feels good to you. We're going to pull the belly in and then dive it a little further if that feels okay. If you're feeling all right with your back. Okay, just go to what feels comfortable for you. Last one coming up. Inhale. And exhale. All right, come back to center. Here, your hands are going to be either pretty wide, maybe turned out, and it really depends on what you have going on with your shoulders and if your chest is pretty kind of tight or if you feel like you kind of round your shoulders a lot, that sort of thing, right? So I want you to be really mindful of what's happening. So let's take a few shoulder rolls. We're going to get those shoulders pulled up, back, and down. Take a little moment. As a matter of fact, let's do a little twist first, okay? A little shoulder opening. So you're going to sit up nice and tall, those legs just straight out in front of you. Take the arms, and we're going to sweep the left arm up and then back. Just a nice little turn as you take that arm back, slide it beside you, take the right arm, lift it up and pull it back. It's going to look like big swimmer arms. So I want you to keep your sit bones fairly grounded, but they're going to slightly shift with you. It's okay. Just pull back. Try to pull back mostly from your waist and then open the chest up. Really pull back and open. Sit up nice and tall. Your heart stays lifted. Pull back. And then last 4, 3, 2, finding your breath with the movement, and 1. Now we're going to have our options here. If you absolutely do not feel like you can put weight on your wrist in this position to lift your bottom off the floor, basically reverse table or plank, you'll find yourself into a bridge position. So you'll take the upper body out of this or maybe elevate your shoulders onto a couch, maybe even a bed, whatever you have nearby, right? So you can do an elevated bridge lift as well, supported bridge. But here, hands will go back. I'm turning fingers out to start. This feels pretty good on my wrists and on my shoulders. So I'm going to pull the shoulders back and down, bend the knees. So notice we're lifting the heart a bit already. Okay, so even if you're in bridge, you're going to do that same action. You're going to pull your shoulders back and down and find a little lift of your heart. You start to tuck your tail a bit, scoop the belly, and then lifting your hips. And that's for your table or your bridge. You're going to lower it back down. I want you to keep a softness in your elbows if you are moving into this variation on table. Okay, keep a softness of your elbows. Pull shoulders back, scoop your tail, lift up. So you're in bridge or table. Take it back down. Let's take 3 more. I want you to keep lifting through your heart. Pull those shoulder blades back and down. Maybe gaze just straight ahead of you or where the wall meets the ceiling. And your head does not need to fall back. If you're in your bridge, you're doing the same thing. You're just gazing at the ceiling. Lift up and lower down. We're going to take 1 more, but we're going to hold that last one. And shoulders pull back, lift up. Take a pause in your table. I want you to just see whether you're in bridge or table. Shift your weight into your right foot and just slide your left leg out straight. Good. So we're just going to slide it down and then bring it back. Switch sides. I want you to lift your hips up as much as you can. Shift your weight to your left foot. Slide your right foot out. Tap the floor. Good. Bring it back in. If you like something a little more challenging, you can slide it out and lift the foot. Lift those hips and bring it back. Other side. Shoulders pull back wherever you are. Elbows softly bent if you're on your hands. Let's take 1 more, both sides. Readjust. See if you can push your hips up a little more. Reach with 1 foot. Back down. Inhale. Exhale. I'm starting to shake. All right, bring it down. And release wherever you were. I want you just to shake it out, especially if you had your hands on the floor. I want you to shake your arms around a little. If you're in or on the floor from your bridge, you can just draw your knees to your chest when you're ready, or do it a little knee sway. Let's take our head side to side. We can all do a little knee sway, whether we're seated or reclining. And then with our next little section, all right, we're gonna hang out here. Let's just hang out for a second. I want you to take a nice little straight leg, partial roll back. So we're gonna basically just kind of be nice. We're gonna counter this position. So we were lifting up, now we're just gonna slowly roll back. Okay, so keep those legs nice and straight, just partial. And then see if you're gonna roll it back up. So I want you to go to the point to where it's like, I can't go 1 centimeter more without falling. And then I want you to hold that space for just a moment. Okay, so still try to lift your heart up a little bit. And then bring it back up. Again, if you find any discomfort on your tail right now, your tailbone underneath you, take a blanket, have a seat on it, pad yourself up a little. Keep your legs nice and long. Let's take one more. Everybody's body's put together just slightly different, and we'll notice sometimes that for one person, it feels fine on their tail when they do the seated moves like this, and another person, maybe their tail kind of protrudes out a little more. So you just have to kind of work with what you got and see how it feels for you. So let's come back up. Very nice. Take a moment to pause, and this is going to be another one of those options that if you need a cushion underneath you, go ahead and find that now. Okay, so we will be doing something that looks a little more like boats, so you'll be balancing on your tail or on your sit bones as well. So you're going to kind of rock slightly behind the sit bones. So if you're seated up all the way, right, and you kind of wiggle yourself around, you should be able to feel your sit bones kind of pressing right underneath you. Now I want you to rock back just slightly, like a little rocking chair. Okay, I want you to rock back just slightly, so you're just maybe right behind that space of your sit bones. You're a little closer towards your tail now. Okay. So now start to pull the heart up. We're just going to tap the toes to the floor, a little lift of your heels. Pull the belly in and up, so we're already balancing here. There's a lot of energy happening, whether our toes are on the floor or we start to lift them up. So I want you to just take one at a time and extend from the knee and bring it back down. Continue to pull the belly into the spine, and I don't want you to feel like you're just holding yourself with your hands. So you need to put a little bend in those elbows, preferably, so that you don't feel like you're just kind of hanging out here holding on. We still want some action in the core. Now you may have another option that you like to try with, which is just holding or releasing your hold and reaching your hands. So we're just going to continue here. Pull the belly in and up. Try to take some of that action out of your hip flexors where your hip is flexed right now. Okay, where you're bending from your hip. Because those hip flexors are going to try to do a lot of this work. So that's why our hip flexors can get so burned out, because our cores aren't doing their job. Our core muscles are not engaging. Transverse and pelvic floor not engaging, and our hip flexors and our back gets all burned out. All right, so now maybe you want to take both of them up and down. Up. You don't have to. You can stay with that alternating for sure. Okay, for 4, find your breath. 3, 2, last one, and release. Awesome work. Take your knees out and just find a nice little forward bend here. Big deep breath in, exhale out. Let's take maybe just one more big breath this way. Inhale and exhale out. And let's come all the way back up. Now moving into a little side plank series. So I want you, it's just a few moves, but you need to be mindful of how it feels for you. So if you like to elevate, we're going to do modified on the elbow, but if you like to elevate onto your palm, you could take that option. Our next option would also be to take the elbow, forearm onto an elevated surface. All right, so if you need to take it up onto an ottoman or something like that to take a little pressure out of the upper body, you could do that as well. Okay, so forearm, or maybe if you need cushion. Sometimes people get really sensitive on their elbows. Okay, so here we are. I want you to take a moment though. And so you have the option to first bend your knee. Okay, let's go there first. And then I'm gonna work towards straight legs. But I also want you to look at what's happening in your upper body. Okay, so your elbow, whenever you're somewhat relaxed, your elbow's gonna look like it's slightly ahead of your shoulder. So toward the short end of your mat. So I want you to just kind of drop down in it a little bit, but it should never move out past your shoulder. So if you can relax and your elbow is not moving this direction, so here, okay, we're in a pretty good space, but this is not where we're working because this is too relaxed. So we have to push up. So let's do that together. We're going to push up and find this nice long side plank. And we're going to drop it back down. Inhale. I don't want you to just kind of just compress into that shoulder. I want you to still pull it back. Just let your waist drop. And then pull it back up. And let's take one more. Inhale, lower the hip down, okay, or the waist, and then lift it back up. And now I want you to stay in that space right there, okay? If you need any adjustments of your elbow, take it. But I want you to really pull up and maybe even use your other hand to pull up that side waist. Now we're gonna lift the rest of the way up. Lift your hip and then lower down. Keep this action though that you've created. Lift up and lower down. So that top leg is just straight. You're driving your shoulder back. See, mine was creeping forward. This is my side that does creep forward a lot. I have a lot of anterior rotation or front rotation with this shoulder, and that shoulder blade tends to wing out more. So I have to really engage it. So if you want to take your legs and stagger them, you could also take this option, really increasing that lever and what you have to lift. So it's all your choice, or your hand could be on the floor rather than your elbow. Okay, so let's take 4, lift and lower, drive your shoulder back or come to an elevated surface. This will be helpful. And let's do 2 more. Okay. And up, last one, and up. So wherever you are, whether it's knee down or straight leg, reach your arm up, drive your shoulder blades back. Now just reach with this top hand under and bring it up. Okay, bring it down and up. So maybe your bottom hand is on the floor rather than your elbow. That might feel better to you. Okay, bring it down and up. Just a couple more. You can always look down as well rather than looking forward. This will help your neck. Let's take 1 more. And just give it a little hold right here. Just a little hold. Shoulders pull back. Smile. Perfect. Bring it down. All right, I want you to just kind of barely let your hip land on the mat. Again, if your neck this direction, my neck starts to crank on this other side. So I have to look down a little. Okay, so you can do that as well. I want you to keep your legs nice and long. Go ahead and straighten them out. But again, as though you were almost going to lift this hip away from the floor. If you need to take your arm all the way out and rest, feel free to do that. Okay. But if we can stay lifted, we're going to have a little more angle here. We're just going to lift and lower the top leg. So just lift and lower. The intention here is to keep your waist lifted if possible, and that length on your side waist, just like we created before we went up into that side plank. I need to turn and look down a little because it starts to strain this side of my neck. I've got all kinds of fun neck issues, like from car accidents and whatnot, you know, from decades ago. So I have to be really mindful and careful, honor that. Let's take 3. Good. Lift and lower. Just a nice straight to the side lift. 2 and 1 and bring it back down. Very good. Go ahead and bring the knees in. We'll lift up and we'll take that to the opposite side. So always feel free to take a moment there in transition just to shake things out. And then we'll come over. So let's do that little lift and lower, kind of like a little mini side push-up. Okay. So bend the knee. If you like to start with that first variation, check out your shoulder elbow alignment. When we let the upper body kind of relax, the waist dips down, but the shoulder does not move out past your elbow. Okay, so we can just drop it a little and then we'll lift it a little. So back into that nice engaged space. Inhale and exhale like you're pushing the floor away from you a little bit. Inhale and exhale. Now I want you to hold that position and just continue to roll up through your hip and then drop it back down, but without releasing your upper body. Okay, so lift up and lower down. This may be quite enough right here. All right, so I tell the story probably too much, but I remember the first time I ever was asked to go up into a modified side plank just like this in a yoga class when I first started. And I thought my teacher was crazy. I was like, that doesn't happen. My body doesn't do that. So look how far we've come. Okay, lift and lower. It's just time and continuation equals progress. So you just continue what you're doing over time, you will progress. Maybe straighten your bottom leg, or if you like to be on your hand instead of your elbow, you can take that. I never want you to drop your waist all the way. I just want you to lift and lower your hips, shoulder pulled back, drive the shoulder blade into your back. Let's try last 3, 2, last 1. Come up and hold, take the arm up, and let's sweep it under. So you're still going to keep your shoulder blade glued to your back as much as you can on that bottom arm. I just want you to kind of thread the arm through slightly, come back up. Your bottom knee can certainly be down. Again, you might even look down a little. Last 3, 2, last 1. And you're gonna hold. So even if your bottom knee is down, wherever you are, I want you to try to hold a side plank. Pull that shoulder blade back and down. Look down if you need to. Take a big smile. Cheese. Perfect. Just like your 3-year-old getting your picture taken. Hang out there for a second. And now lower your hips down. All right, perfect. Your head can be down if needed. See if you can stay lifted with that waist elevated. That would be a nice place to start. And then bugs are straight. Toes are pointing forward. I'm just lifting the top leg and lowering it. So you're finding that resistance from the top waist, especially trying not to let yourself dive down and up. So when you stay steady in the upper body, whether you're all the way on the mat or you're right here lifted slightly, you're going to find a lot of work there on the obliques as well. So last 3. Find your breath. 2, last 1, and then release. Amazing. Come all the way over. I want you to press yourself up and back for a moment into child's pose. Give it a little stretch. And then let's just take one more movement because we'll run out of time. Because I have so much more fun stuff for us to do. We'll save it. All right, reach your hands forward just so we get a little more on that back body space. All right, so push your hips down, push your pubic bone down. Nose is slightly toward the mat, chin down. Just lifting your left leg and then your right arm. We're going to do nice little slow swimmers. Bring it down, switch side. Right leg, left arm. Bring it down. So I want you to try to push your pubic bone into the mat each time. Your hips nice and steady so you're not feeling this. Go straight to your low back. It's your glute working, and then you're lifting using your shoulders and your upper back. Good. Let's maybe see if we can speed it up a little for 8, 7. If you want to float, 5, 4, you could do that. 3, a little faster, 2, and 1, and then release again. So bring the hands back. You can rest your head for a moment. We'll push up, press back. Give yourself a little moment here. Let's reach over to one side. Nice big long side reach from your child's pose. Back to the other side. And then back to center. Take a moment, start to slide yourself up, and however you like to get into seated. Let's just find a little seated variation here. So just sweep your arms up, and let's take it over to one side, anchoring your sit bones and just reaching it out nice and long. Come up and then over. Let's take a little seated twist while we're here. Just spin it around. And then to the other side. And as you come back to center, maybe just switch the way your legs are crossed. Coming forward, nice little forward bend. And maybe you like to just kind of gently roll in and out of it. You can find a nice little kind of cat-cow rolling through your spine. Or if you like, just kind of gently forward, gently back without rolling. Take what you need, leave everything else. Let's come back up to center. Place your fingertips right behind you. Lift your heart, pull the shoulders back, lift the heart up, tail down, and then come back to center. Take a moment just placing hands on the knees. Sit up nice and tall, just a little shift of your rib cage, side to side along with your head. And as you come back to center, let's sweep those hands all the way up, hands coming down to your heart. Take a moment and find everything that's good today and the energy that you've created, and put this energy into your day, okay? I want you to take it with you, take it off of this mat and carry it with you today. Let all the other stuff go, the things that don't matter, all right? Thanks for being here. I'm very proud of you, and we will meet again very, very soon.